Good morning. My name is Sruti Swaminathan, and today feels a little like my first day at Georgetown. Scary. Before I came here 3 years ago, I made a really embarrassing list of things called Things I Should Know to Successfully Interact with My Law School Classmates. The name of all the Supreme Court justices, the name of a really fine Pinot Noir, where to find good case briefs for when we inevitably stopped reading, just a couple of things that I thought might smooth my transition into law school. Thankfully, though, I landed in Section 3, where all you need to make friends is a warm smile, an open mind, and a deeply rooted commitment to the overthrow of the global capitalist order. A good tip, if you go into any bathroom here, look in a mirror, and say Bernie Sanders 3 times, 2 Section 3ers will appear behind you with a hacky sack and a copy of Gramsci's prison notebooks. For those who don't know, Section 3 was a special first-year curriculum for a particular strain of nerds who liked the idea of law school, but were worried there wouldn't be enough reading. I remember our first day of class. In typical law school fashion, or maybe just Section 3 fashion, a few dozen of us waited outside our classroom 45 minutes early to get a good seat. At 20 minutes out, the entire class was standing outside, and everybody was sheepishly avoiding eye contact so that they wouldn't come off as the gunner in the class. For the uninitiated, the gunner is a stereotypical, hyper-competitive law student you can see in the movies or at any of the other commencement ceremonies at Georgetown today. So we were all terrified, but Gary Peller was quick to put us at ease. In our first Contracts and Torts class, it was actually called Bargain, Exchange, and Liability because Section 3 classes are named specifically to make outsiders' eyeballs roll to the back of their heads. Professor Peller assured us that the law is an indeterminate, paternalistic political agenda to maintain status quo power relations. In that moment, I was so thankful to be at Georgetown Law with students willing to engage in these debates. I made a list after the first week of school listing all the words I didn't know. Positivist, chattel, certiorari, pacta sunt servanda. After 3 years of law school, my vocabulary list is over 142 words long, and most of those additions came from conversations at a bar with my Section 3 classmates. Looking at you, Claire. There are so many Section 3 memories that stuck out to me, and I will happily time machine you guys through a few of them today before we grab those diplomas. The time our property professor dressed up as a fox to etch in Pearson v. Post in our minds. The fact that none of us will ever be able to control ourselves at a Yardbird after Professor Solom's spring Civ Pro exam. The stories of friends who have cried in Professor Peller's office just because. When our classmate wrote a satirical sample exam before every 1L exam in order to ease our nerves and or avoid studying himself, looking at you, Zach. These are definitely things that are unique to us Section 3ers, and I couldn't be prouder or feel luckier to have been with y'all through one of the most rigorous academic years of our lives. I'm in awe of how much I've learned from being in a room with y'all for 1 year, and many of you I had the privilege of taking 2L and 3L classes with. My classmates, y'all have acted with humility and dignity in listening to each other's voices. One of the best things about the family we have created is that our section has felt like a safe space for all, and I will never take that for granted. It has also been a challenging environment, in the best possible sense. You all have challenged the way I approach conversations with people with different beliefs, and you challenge my own beliefs in every conversation I have with you. We've learned that confronting legal problems requires us to think beyond the law. Our professors taught us not to equate emotions with weakness, and that being emotive and passionate is exactly what makes for powerful lawyering. We've learned to acknowledge that people interact with legal systems in different ways based on their privilege, leaving some without access at all. Just as entering law school felt scary, leaving law school in the state of the current world feels scary. But 3 years later, the feeling of being scared has turned into one of the most galvanizing emotions. Desmond Tutu said, "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor." If my section has taught me anything, it's the power of collective action based on compassion and inclusion. The law is our weapon, and the work the last 3 years has prepared us to take on is needed now more than ever. Together, we will fight against the oppression of racial and religious minorities, women, LGBTQ folks, and people with disabilities over the next 4 years and beyond. I can confidently say that I, alongside of each and every one of my Section 3 classmates, will fiercely work to protect the values that make our country great. And we will not stay silent when those in positions of power seek to undermine the rights of people to be treated with human dignity. Congratulations to the Section 3 class of 2017. Let's go get 'em.